I was 13 and I wanted to kill myself. I just ended up homeless. How can you stay positive when you have zero money in your bank, you gotta feed your kids, you got rent to pay, you don't have a job, you're going through depression, grief? It's hard. You're there, you're in rock bottom. The only way that you could possibly go is up. We are born to survive. A majority of the things in life are a result of your habits. This is the problem. People are like, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna leave my job when, my business starts to take off. No, mate, you gotta leave your job now. You gotta go all in. Because when you have zero in your account and you invested, let's say, on a mentorship, on a coaching, on a course, or whatever, you are gonna do everything in your power because you're down there. I felt like a failure. I got fired from the Apprentice. I felt like I kept trying and nothing seemed to work. And the Apprentice was like the last punch.
So welcome, Jem, to what was formerly known as turning adversity into an asset. I don't know what camera is looking at me right now. There's multiple cameras everywhere.
I know.
But this will change. I haven't updated the branding yet, but it's going to be called Adversities to Assets. So this is just going to swipe away to make it cleaner. And what better to introduce the new branding and the new show with a new guest.
Thank you. I'm so honored.
So I'm going to give you a little breakdown, and sorry that I have to refer to my notes, but there's quite a lot here. So
I know. Sorry, jack of all trades.
That's good. So you become a big Latin influencer. So we're going to dive into your origin soon, which is something that I've got a personal connection with. That might give some people listening a little bit of a hint. You've been on multiple TV shows, which we're going to dive into. One very well known here in the UK. And you're an entrepreneur, presenter, award-winning motivational speaker, mental health advocate, and ambassador to lots of charities, and also got lots of exciting things going on that we're going to talk about today. But as always, the main reason, and I've got more notes here, we'll dive back into those shortly. The main reason you're here, other than to obviously chat and get to know each other a bit better, is, of course, the message. And you connect with this message massively as well. I know that we were talking before the podcast, and you mentioned that you talk a lot about your message. And that's almost exactly the same, right?
Yes.
Pain into power. I've heard motivation, misery into motivation, mess into message. I haven't heard before. I love it. So I resonated deeply with that. And we just connected online, didn't we? And we was like, wow, we're just basically doing the same thing. Yes. Same people, just slightly different looking.
Different stories for sure.
Different hair, different stories. But apart from that, exactly the same. But of course, you have your own story. And it is one of adversity into an asset. And I mean, take it away. Let's hear it.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm so excited. Hopefully you have subtitles because of my accent. Right. So I came to the UK when I was a baby. I was 16 years old. At the time I had a boyfriend here and didn't work out well. He cheated on me, ended up homeless.
You came here at 16, did you say?
16.
And you had a boyfriend here already?
I had a boyfriend. Well, he came here like a month before I came. So kind of like the same time. The aim was for me to spend a year in the UK, in London, learn English, and then fly back home to go to university. That was the whole plan. Didn't work out.
And where was home? We haven't revealed that yet.
Venezuela.
And connection I had is, so by the way, I think these are our cameras, by the way, in terms of what we looked at. So the connection I have to Venezuela is my wife is Venezuelan. So I know all about arepas and tequeños.
And she's so beautiful. She's stunner.
She is.
Yeah.
And I've heard that Venezuelan are actually, they constantly win the world's
Miss Universe.
Miss Universe, right?
Yeah, we even had a record of like 3 Miss Universes. My sister is actually Miss International.
Oh yeah, you mentioned, wow, that's crazy. But I've before I met my wife Diana, I'd never heard of Venezuela.
Do you know what? It's a tiny country in South America, and when I first came to the UK. People used to ask me where I was from, and I used to say Venezuela. They'd be like, "Oh, where's that?" Now it's a little bit more well known for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, you get some loads of great cocaine there.
Corruption. But it's a little bit more known now than it was before.
And it's crazy because Diana was telling me about the country, and she left when she was 15. Her parents actually won the green card lottery, and they moved to
Oh
America.
my God, that's amazing.
So they all moved to America and lived in Miami. And we were talking about it. She lives in like a little cluster in, I think it's called Weston. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's just full of other Venezuelans. I don't know. They just all live
Oh
there.
God, it's like if you go to Miami, it's like Cuba town and Venezuelan town.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
I'm
even.
going to need to learn how to
There
speak
is
Spanish.
shops that actually say outside the shops like we speak English.
Right.
It's a country, it's a city taken over by the Latinos for sure. My sister lives in Miami, so
Yeah.
you know, I know exactly what she means.
And she had to leave because, like you said, there's lots of corruption. I mean, I think I read something about the president was actually involved with the drug smuggling and all sorts of crazy stuff. And you was advised not to go there because I was going to say you get held at gunpoint, but actually that happened to you,
It
right?
happened to me twice.
Right.
And it's funny because I took my husband, he was my boyfriend then, and the first time I ever took him to Venezuela. And, I'm talking all these marvelous things about Venezuela and beautiful and how stunning. And he was very excited about going to Venezuela. And we leave the airport and we get held at gunpoint right outside the airport. As we arrived.
My God.
And they take everything.
And where was he from?
He's from here.
Oh, so he was from here. So how did you know him originally then?
So he super strange.
It was like MSN or something.
So his dad used to be my landlord. And I remember I used to see him. I used to be like, oh my God, he's so hot. But I was with someone at the time. And his dad was like, oh my God, you need to meet my son. You two will be and he's a twin. He's got a twin brother. So identical twins. And his dad.
You find his brother attractive as well then?
Absolutely not.
But you have to.
It's so strange. I do not. Because I'm more attracted to personality than looks. Obviously, looks helps. But his brother is very shy. And I was always attracted to my husband's personality. He's very outgoing, outspoken. And I was like, yeah, he's hot. And I never in a million years thought it's strange that I saw them differently. And I knew them for like 5 years. And it was only until I finished my past relationship that his dad, they have a pub in South London. And his dad, I go to the pub. It's like, oh, so where is your partner? And I was like, yeah, no, we done. Sanjay! Like right across the pub. And to be fair with you, I came forward. I was like, hey, what time you finish? Do you want to go out? And I've never done that before. But yeah, that's how we kind of met.
And when you took him there, I bet that was a bit of a shock.
So yeah, imagine first time in Venezuela, living in the airport and literally like leaving the airport. And there, these cars just pulled out and held at gunpoint, put a gun in my head, put a gun in his head and in my mom's head. There was 3 guys. And they just started taking our bags, my wallet, everything.
And when you're at the airport, you
passport,
had everything on you as well, right?
Everything.
Jewelry and all.
And in a weird way, I remember taking $2,000 and putting it in my boot.
Right.
I have no idea why, how, what came into me. And that's all the money we had. And like, it was just insane. So that was his first experience. He went 4 times more. Wow. And then we got held at gunpoint again last time, which is 8 years ago. They just wanted to take the car that we were driving. And yeah, by this time we had a little one. He was about 4, so scary.
And it's a shame because like my wife speaks about the country and she's like, look at this beach that they have. Like, look at the beaches. And I'm like, that looks like the Maldives.
Yes.
And then she's like, and we have the desert. And I'm like, what? And then she's like, and we have the Amazon rainforest. I'm
everything.
Like, what? And we have snowy mountains. I'm like, are you serious? This is like the epitome of all the best countries in the world all mixed up into one.
And it's the heart of the planet because we have Canaima, which is where all the air gets kind of cleansed or something along those lines. Angel Falls, which is the tallest waterfall in the world. So
one of the 7 wonders in the world.
Well, I just been again after 8 years, and I can actually reassure everybody it's changed.
Yeah,
a lot. It's a lot safer. I don't know why. Maybe the people that used to do the robberies, they have more money than everybody now, thanks to the corruption. That's all I can think. But yeah, no, it's a
they've retired.
Country. They're retired, yes. Now we need to rob them.
Rob them back, and the cycle continues.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe Venezuela is going to be one of the future hotspots. It'll be like the new Bali.
So.
Who knows?
I hope so.
I'm gonna have to go there. Not have to, but it makes sense for me to visit at some point because
you have to. Yeah.
But I have been warned not to because of obviously all the danger. But if
Yeah.
that's easing up, then that's good.
I'll say wait a little bit.
Yeah, a couple more years.
A little bit. But yeah, I think it's on the way.
Because even her mum and dad are like, I'd never go back there again.
Yeah.
And
I
they have
get
family out there. And they're like, nope.
I get it. It's still not 100%. So if you do go, you need to know like
You need to have a gun.
places to go, have a gun,
Two,
a bat.
at least. What?
Bulletproof vest.
Cool. So is this the first time you arrived, or was this when you actually moved to England when you were 16?
The first time, yeah. The first time. 6 months down the line, my ex cheated on me and I just ended up homeless. I just left the house. I didn't have any money.
This isn't the one that had the pub and all that sort of stuff, right?
No.
Okay, just to clarify that in case got those two confused.
No. This is kind of like my first. He was like my first serious relationship.
Okay.
I was a teenager. I was 16. Hence why my mom let me come all the way to London. But yeah, it was crazy times, and that was the beginning. That could have been the beginning of the end for me, but it was the beginning of my story, and how I became who I am today. And I mean, it started when I was younger. I had a very abusive in all areas stepdad. He abused me in everything you can possibly think, and that's when I was about 9 years old. So from 9 years old, I think that's where my crazy story begins, because I struggle. I don't think I've never said this on air.
Okay.
But I was 13 and I tried to kill myself. I ate rat poison,
Oh my God.
at 13 years old. And I remember, I never told my mom this, so I hope she doesn't watch this podcast. But I remember doing it and going to sleep thinking I was going to just be dead. And I woke up and I was drugged up, very drugged up. And I was talking like that, and my mom thought I was taking drugs, and she literally beat me up.
Oh no.
But I didn't have the heart to tell her.
That's not what you need.
I just wanted, I was dead. And I'm thinking right now, I'm like, my son is 12. I was a year older than my son. But this is when it was like crazy. So when my mom told me, do you want to go to London? I was like, pack my bags. Yes, absolutely. Because I knew I was going to get, out of that.
Away from the stepdad.
That situation. Well, he wasn't with us anymore, but he was around.
Okay.
And, I had an amazing mother. Like, she was just incredible in many ways. But obviously, I didn't want to bring all this stress to her because she already had a lot of stress. So, yeah, it's, that was sort of like when I came to London and that happens to me, then I find myself homeless. It's funny because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you were 17 and you was homeless. For me, it was a walk in the park because I've been living with a monster.
Yes, there's freedom for you.
So it was freedom, yeah. So in a way, it was like, it wasn't too bad because, and I never called my mom. And a lot of people's like, I think my mom found out when I was pregnant. And I told her because I thought I need to tell her at one point. She's like, she was fuming. She was like, how? Why didn't you tell me? I said, because I knew if I told you, you being the protective mother that you are, you would have come and picked me up personally, hold my hand and put me in a plane. And I didn't want that to be, I just thought this can't be the end of my story. Like, I can't come all the way to England, to London, not learn the language, go back home empty-handed and, like a bit of a loser. So I was like, no, I can't tell her.
Wow. So I just want to pick up on one of the things you mentioned there, because I think it's already a really powerful statement when it comes to turning adversity into an asset. I think a lot of people that are going through shit or have been through shit don't realize that these actually become powerful tools that you can use. Of course, that's what we speak about. It becomes a driving force. It also increases your threshold of kind of what is bad and what is scary. And like you said, a lot of people, that have lived in comfort their life, they fear things that to people that have been through shit just aren't scary. They're like, oh, what about if it doesn't work? I'm like, so what? What about if I'm homeless? Well, I find a sofa, you know.
Yeah.
And so if you have been through difficult times or are going through different times, I think it's important for people to understand that good, you're growing, you're stretching, you're changing your threshold of, what bad actually is and what things you can be scared of so that it's not going to hold you back in the future as much as it would a normal person. Um, Absolutely. I get it all the time. People are like, "Yeah, does that not worry you?" I'm like, I mean, in comparison to this,
Yeah.
and this, like this is nothing. Like you said, if anything, this is good, you know?
Yeah. But I think it takes for you to go through it. And when you're going through it, this is a fine line of it. It's when you are going through it, you don't see that. You
No.
see, you feel like everything is ending and you just feel like there is no way out. And this is the bit where a lot of people ask me, how can you stay positive when you have zero money in your bank? You gotta feed your kids, you got rent to pay, you don't have a job, you're going through depression, grief. It's hard,
Mm,
you there, you're in rock bottom. So all you gotta think is that there is no way down anymore. The
mm,
only way that you could possibly go is up,
yeah,
but it's up to you and
yeah,
up to how you, because I think a lot of people victimize themselves too much.
mm,
And it might be harsh to understand this, but everything that is happening in your life right now, it's because of you.
mm,
Unless there is something outside your control, like grief or things that happen in our life. But majority of the things in life are a result of your habits.
mhm,
So the first thing that people need to do is acknowledge and take responsibility.
yeah. That was one of the keywords I was thinking. That and realize hope as well, because I think that's why things like podcasts are so powerful. They weren't available, 10 years ago, unfortunately. But when people are in these difficult spots, like you said, they can't see a way out, and they're
No.
like, but when they can hear stories like ours and other people's, they can go, oh, okay, well, maybe things can change because sometimes you can't see it for yourself, but if you can see it for somebody else, then it's possible and it can give you that hope, and maybe things will get better. And then if you can then
Mm.
cling on to that hope whilst taking responsibility, it's a mixture of faith and action, isn't it? It's like, yes, not necessarily a religious faith, but like I believe that there's something more and these things can change, and also I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to make that happen. I think when those two come together, I think it's a powerful, unstoppable force.
Yeah. And when people are like in rock bottom or going through a really difficult situation, majority of people look for solutions outside.
Mhm.
And that's where they get it wrong. This kind of thing, and like we're so lucky to live in this day and age where there is podcasts like this, where you have accessibility to people, stories like yours, like mine, like many people out there that want to speak up. It's not easy to sit here and say I was 13 and I wanted to kill myself, and
Mhm.
I tried to kill myself. But the reason why I say is because not because I want pity or empathy, or I say it because I want people to understand that everyone deals with crap.
Mm.
Everyone deals with problems, you know? It's how you look for the solution. And a lot of people look on the outside. Okay, let me do this, let me do that. You gotta look in.
Yeah.
You gotta get in. You gotta face your demons. You gotta sit
Yeah.
down, with your demons and be like, okay, this is what I'm going through. The reason
Yeah.
why I'm feeling like this, it's because of this. So
Yeah.
let me do something about it. I'll try it. If it doesn't work, then I try it again.
Yeah. I think there's quite a few stages of it. I think people can just blame an unknown entity and just be annoyed at the
That's
world,
easy.
right? That's
That's the
easy to do.
easiest bit to do. Yeah.
The next level is maybe getting a little bit more clarity and blaming other people and things and stuff around you for why your life is so difficult and playing that blame game. The next thing is to try and make changes, but like you said, make changes to your externally, to your circumstances, to the places you go, to the boyfriends you have, to the girlfriends you have, to the types of drinks you have, to the,
Mhm.
the different, trying to shift things up a little bit and see if that aligns things. But then, like you said, the real root cause is to work on yourself. I know it took me 25 years to figure that out. I didn't realize that I was the problem and I was also the solution. And the moment I grasped that, I realized I was in control. And if you're in control, it's amazing how quickly your life can change because
Absolutely.
you're in the driver's seat and you make the decisions and you decide where you want to go rather than just, giving your power and your personal power away to other people and places and things, or even the unknown entities. If you give your power away to nothing, something you don't understand, and just, have no responsibility whatsoever, then you have no idea where you're going to end up. And that's usually down,
Absolutely.
and that's where I went. So I know what that's like. So tell us about you're homeless. I read in there you just turn up as a homeless immigrant. That's how you wrote. That's how you
Pretty
wrote
much.
it. Yeah,
Pretty much.
that's not my word. That's your words in there.
It is.
But it's, I thought it could be quite a powerful headline. Homeless immigrant arrives in the UK, and what did you do? What did you do to turn things around? To
I
start?
tell this story all the time, but I think it's a story that it will make hopefully a non-believer a believer. Okay, so 22 years ago when this happened, I used to live in Good Street in a student accommodation, and I remember packing my bags, leaving the place. They all thought that I had somewhere to go, and I didn't. And going down the street, and obviously it's England, it's London, started raining. So I go into this arc, and I remember that's when it hit me. I was 17 years old, right? And even though that I was very mature for my age, because I'm the oldest of two sisters. So I've always looked after them, I had responsibilities, I cooked, I cleaned. I was like the mother of the house, right? And then I went under these arcs and I started crying, and I just broke down. And I had my bags, and I'm thinking it was in the middle of like January, it was snowing, it was freezing. And I look at this building, and there was all these people coming out of this building with like suits and that little briefcase, back in the days. And I was like, one day I'm gonna be like them. I'm gonna be successful like them. One day, I can't. This isn't the end for me. This is the beginning of my story. I know, I feel it, and it's just something came onto me. I don't know. I just thought, okay, this is gonna work out. I'm gonna trust the universe. Back then I didn't know about the universe because I didn't know about manifesting. All of this was like non-existent. So I thought I'm gonna trust God. God knows that I have a good heart and I'm a good person. So I know God is always gonna help me and have my back. I went on to, I used to sleep on the tube. I used to like run behind the like people back then that was like easier. Run behind the people, just get on the tube and then go up and down the tube. I used to like crash in couches. Sometimes I used to meet people like in Havana Club because I used to go salsa still while I was homeless.
Wow.
Trying to live up and trying to stay warm, obviously. And 18 years later, I received.
He wasn't homeless for 18 years, was she?
No. I was homeless.
18 years later, I got
No. I
myself
was
my
homeless
first
for like
flat.
2 weeks. Yeah. So recently, I just got my first accommodation. So 2 weeks, about 2 weeks, I was homeless.
But that's enough, and that's
It's a lot.
Yeah.
In the middle of winter.
Yeah.
And
in London as well.
But 18 years later, when I got the Apprentice audition, they sent me the Apprentice. I applied. I was going through depression, by the way. I've only changed my life 6 years ago. This new Jemelin. It's like not from like far, far away. This is like I was going through depression, suicide thoughts. I had my son. Probably I wouldn't be here if I didn't have him. And I just thought, I'm just going to try whatever comes onto the laptop. And it came and then applied. And it's always been in my head.
I'm going to try whatever comes onto the laptop.
I just opened my laptop.
Whatever spam pops up, I'm going to click.
I opened the laptop and thank God it wasn't like stripping or something because that wouldn't be. I need to do something.
I love how easy you make this seem though. For anyone who's interested in online opportunities, they're like, wow, is it really that easy? I'm just going to try anything that comes on my laptop. Yeah. Apprentice. That's me.
Well, do you remember? I don't know. They don't do it often now, but back in like 8 years ago, they used to have like these ads on the right-hand side of Google.
Yeah.
Yes.
They still do.
I still do.
Yeah.
God. Oh wow. And I went and it was there.
Oh, maybe they don't.
No,
actually.
I don't think
they do
it
have
anymore.
on websites and stuff.
Websites,
and
but
they
not
are Google
on
ads,
Google,
but not
Google.
on the actual search. Yeah.
So it was just there, and then I just applied. 18 years later, after that situation with me crying and looking at that building, I get an audition, and it says you must wear a suit or formal attire. So I was like, oh
Did
my
you get your
God.
briefcase?
No, I didn't. I didn't. But I walk on the same building
Yeah,
with the
cool.
suit.
Wow. So
18
what did
years
you? So
later.
what was it that you applied for when you did the Apprentice? Because obviously you have to show that you're entrepreneurial and business
Yeah,
minded.
so at the time, I went from working in various jobs, and then I went on to doing events. But in events, I was doing lead generation. So do you know, like, people work in events, like girls mainly, and they're like promo girls,
Yeah.
and So I work with this company, which I loved, because you kind of blend in with the company. So you lead generate. So you do lead generation for the company on the trade shows. So I was like, why is this, like, this generates sales on trade shows? So why is this not being used more? So, but the reason why is because it was expensive. It was expensive. I used to get quite a bit of money, like day rates. So I wanted to make that accessible for companies for trade shows. So I had an app being developed for that. So it was like the Uber for the events industry, for lead generators, for trade shows and exhibitions.
Nice.
So it was a really good idea. And, I had a few investors interested. And I guess, I think a blending of, I was in such a bad place that when you get to such a bad place, your inhibitions, it can go either way. You either you keep your cards close to your chest, or you just think, sorry, I'm just gonna do what's the worst thing? I mean, I've been through the worst now.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the audition and just being like, I'm just gonna be myself. I feel like we live in the time, and even now, where you turn your voice down, or you're too much, or it's just a bit too loud.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna try my hardest. I went to the audition, the crazy Latina, and
They probably wrote that down as your like
yeah, like the
typecast.
crazy Latina. Only born and bred Latina in the show. I think they actually traumatized after me. And yeah, and but even getting into the building, I was like, what are the odds? I thought the Apprentice was like in Canary Wharf, or like, or the city or something like that, but it was actually in the same building.
And where was it?
It's in Tottenham Court Road,
Right.
the
Okay.
auditions. And yeah, and I knew this is my calling. And I remember walking past, and I just saw me on that corner crying. I was like, oh my God. I haven't even done the audition. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be on The Apprentice.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my God. And I remember calling my husband, like, I'm going to be on The Apprentice. He's like, oh, really? What? You just gone to the face audition? I'm like, yeah, no, I know. Listen, I'm going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was almost like that I was dead inside, and the fire just went. Phew.
Wow. I got a similar story. I just want to share, because I've never shared it before, actually, and but it's slightly different. So when I was younger, I always had this desire to be famous, because I saw it as close to love as I could understand at the time. I didn't know that I'd drawn that connection, but I wanted to be loved, wasn't getting it, so I found it in significance, and I thought one route could be fame. So when I was between 7 and 11, I was doing all sorts of stage schools and acting, singing, and dancing, all sorts of stuff. Anyway, that came to a dead end, with some sexual abuse from a guy, and then at 11 I cut it all off. And then later in life, after I built my business, I was like, oh, I want to try some reality TV. And I know you've done some, so we want to dive into this, but I want to just share with my experience of it. So I applied for Big Brother, just the last season before it finished. And I absolutely loved the auditions, by the way. Like, I loved that whole process. I don't know if you enjoyed it as well, but it was just like, it's a game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even the auditions.
Yeah.
And I got through the videotape audition, and then the group auditions, and then the interviews, and then the executive producers, and the psychiatrist, and then home visit. And
Amazing.
then they rang up and they told me I'd got on. They told me to pack a bag. And they told me what to wear and what I couldn't, and they told me what hotel I was going in. They said, you got to go into hiding 1 week before, and all this sort of stuff. And up and this whole point, what I'd been doing was that I'd been manifesting Big Brother. So I literally would play the audience cheers, right? And I would stand and I would close my eyes, and I would picture those doors opening, and me going like this with my arms. I mean, if you're listening on podcast, guys, and you can't see me, my arms are like almost in like a Jesus crucifix position, right? But not far off. You know, when you're just like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
the winners.
yeah,
The
like
winners
so
pose.
the door opens and then I'm just like, well, I was thinking of the entrance, you know, because you know
Oh,
when they
the
introduce
entrance. Yeah,
people
yeah,
and they're
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
opens and it's just like Lewis Raymond Taylor, whatever. So I every day would do that. And then, so that was why I thought I was going to get in. And then anyway, last minute, they rang me up and they said, the production company approved you, but Channel 5 rejected it because of your risk and your criminal record. They knew about it the whole way, but they really wanted me on. So they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. But in the end, they just said no. And it was the same year that, because it's Celebrity Big Brother and then it's the normal one. And then in the Celebrity Big Brother that year, I can't remember who it was. It was someone off Coronation Street, like hit some girl on the arm, just like that. And it was a big thing. Like
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
and then I think that was what it was. I thought they tightened up their violence policy,
Yeah.
and then they were like, "Hang on a minute, we're about to put someone in who's been to prison for GBH. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Under psychological and he's got mental health conditions, and we're going to put him under.
He's broken.
Yeah, and we're going to put him under psychological experiments. I think this is probably not a good idea. So I can understand it. And I was only about 4 years out of jail, so it wasn't like I was that rehabilitated. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is I had a similar moment because I think it was a year later, I put on my own event, 300-person event called Fire Up. It was a firewalking. We got the firewalking, Tony Robbins firewalking team. It was an amazing event. And then at the end, and it was the first time I'd really shared my story on stage to a lot of people. I think I'd shared it at like college before to a group of people, but this was the first time I shared my story and I was really nervous about it and everything. And at the end, I was, just sort of very subtly bowing, and then the host came up and he was like, "Come on," and he got my arms and he lifted them up behind me, and I just went boom, and I just snapped straight into that
And
picture.
everybody's clapping.
Yeah, I snapped straight into the thing that I'd been manifesting. It was like, boom, I just felt it click. I was it was there.
Amazing.
So I manifested something better.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that at the time.
Well, you maybe manifested that all the whole time.
The whole time, yeah. And thought it was that. But anyway, so an experience of kind of, I get what you mean when you're thinking about something. And anyway, just a story there for you.
No, that's amazing. And I'm a firm believer that, I've been rejected many times, many times. A lot of things that, have not gone my way. Probably more times that I actually have gone, like, I think The Apprentice was the first time that I actually felt like accepted somehow.
Yeah.
And, being comfortable with no's and rejection. And, for me, it's always been like a no means that I'm being redirected. Because if you went to Big Brother, maybe you would have done what you've done up to now.
Yeah.
And you would have inspired as many people as you have until now, because you've done everything with your bare hands, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was the universe or whatever higher power redirecting you to your purpose.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. And I've had a lot of offers for like other reality shows, and it's just, I know, fame is, like you said, it's something nice. And I remember being on The Apprentice and, getting people asking me for pictures and, all of these things. And it feels really nice. It feels lovely. But it's a massive pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Massive pressure. It's like your life, it's on a magnifying glass, And we humans, we make mistakes. We do things that we shouldn't do. We get drunk and sleep on the tube with the mouth open. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as easy as people think it is. Like, I think people see fame as like this amazing thing. And no, it messes with your mind.
I bet.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And people have an opinion. And now that you've built your reputation and you build you're a public figure. People know your story. It's still like these people that have their own opinions. And some of their opinions are tough. So you gotta have tough skin.
Yeah, it takes a while. It takes a few years, but after a while, it's just like, I've got another one, And they're always idiots, aren't they?
I now, it's funny because now I'm in a different mindset. And when somebody says something mean, I make it even worse. Like, there was somebody, they said something along the lines like, go back to your country or something like that in one of the comments. And I said, "Oh, I wish, I really like to go back to my country. I'm gonna do a GoFundMe so I can collect some money for my ticket. Will you pay some?" Do you know what I mean? Like things
yeah.
like that. Like instead of giving them like, "Oh, how dare you say that? That's so racist," or anything like that. I am literally now like they're taking the mickey out of me. I'm gonna take the mickey out of me too.
So, I guess some crazy ones. Some guy called me a clown shoe the other day.
A
I've never,
clown
yeah, I've
shoe.
never even heard that. I was like, what? Do you think that's going to hurt me or something? It's like
I don't think it makes sense.
a clown
Clown
shoe.
shoe.
Yeah, just like
Okay.
he's like, get off my fucking news feed, you clown shoe. And I'm like, and then you look at his profile and he's this weird long hair, like big glasses from the 70s, like creature. And it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm
Okay.
happy to be a clown shoe than you. Anyway,
Yeah.
we won't go into that rabbit hole.
No.
So what was The Apprentice like then? What was it like behind the scenes compared to what people might perceive it to be like? Was there any insights?
A lot of trauma. I think Apprentice, it's the kind of show that will literally drain you. Like a lot of people that you speak about that's been on the show that have PTSDs and traumas.
I bet there was a lot of filming as well, because I've been doing a bit of filming recently, and there's so many shots you have to retake and redo, and people can watch a TV show and be like, oh, that's only an hour, and that must have been quite easy just to fly on the wall camera. But I bet they're like, can we redo this again? Can you do this in this bit?
Oh God, yes.
And I bet it was like long.
Yeah,
hard work.
It's 4:00 in the morning start.
Wow.
Like literally cameras in your face. I remember at the beginning, the first like 2 episodes, I was like, like towards the end, I was like dripping, like dribbling.
Yeah. Please fire me. Please.
And that's the whole point of the show. I think the whole point of the show is like to drain the energy out of you so you make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And it's more entertaining.
Yeah.
It's TV at the end of the day. But yeah, it was a crazy experience. For me, it was hard because like I went in there with a bit of a mental state, not in the best place. I was missing my son. Like I felt like such a bad mother. But I felt like, okay, look, I could actually make 250K, put into the business. This could change his life. So it was a battle in my head of what I was doing. But it was crazy. It felt like it was all a blur.
Yeah, I bet.
It was just insane. For me, the hardest part was dealing with the boardroom.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Was that like one of the? How much interaction did you have with Alan Sugar?
A lot. None of it was shown, but a lot.
Okay. I thought it'd be the opposite.
No, you see, because I had the good answers, so I probably didn't make him look too good. So
right.
He kicked me out of the boardroom a few times, to be fair with you.
Right.
So a lot of the scenes
But it was mainly in the boardroom that you would have.
Only in the boardroom.
Oh,
and sometimes
I was thinking more like, does he treat it like as a show and he turns up as a celeb and like, what have I got to do? Or is he actually showing an interest in you guys?
No. He's it's just boardroom. Like I think there was a couple of times he came to the mansion that we were staying where he's like, okay, tomorrow you have this and that. But no, he never had any interaction with us.
So you didn't get to know what he was like off camera?
No.
Interesting.
No. It's all very much the show.
He's probably doing like some business meeting now and he's like, oh, got The Apprentice next.
Yeah, something
in
like
his
that.
schedule.
Yes.
Just another
absolutely.
thing.
So yeah, being in the boardroom. I never had a corporate job. I come in from doing events. I've been self-employed since 2010. So years. So I never had a boss. You see, I've been my own boss for so long. And I had an issue with somebody pointing the finger at me.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like it. So when because he used to say something, but he wasn't there at filming. And even sometimes the production will be like, so, when the bits in the interview, they're like, so, Jemelin, if you was to lose this task, who you think, whose fault is it? And I'd be like, all of you. All of you. Like the production, you guys made us lose because she wasn't there at the time.
And do you think so he doesn't really know what went on? He was just fed some lines of what to say?
He was probably, fed the information by somebody that, was in charge of that. I think it's outdated. I think there needs to be a new Apprentice. Maybe you should do a new TV show.
That's
where
a good point, actually.
It's empowering.
Because they've replaced a lot of the dragons, haven't they, in Dragon's Den?
Yeah, because it's not like that anymore. If you look at like corporate, like, let's say, you go to, I don't know, Google office or Facebook office, there's like a game room. There's no boardroom. There's no pointing fingers. There's none of this stuff. We live in a different
Yeah.
age. Like now it's different times. It's not like
And
this whole
250 grand? Psh, I don't want it, Alan.
this
Fuck
whole
off. Is
like
that
you
it?
are shit.
We can make more money on that online in a fucking week. We don't need you, Alan.
Exactly.
And your little, with your little notepad and
Nope,
pen.
I'm pointing fingers. Oh shoot.
Love you really, Alan. I'll be up for next year if you're
Yeah.
interested.
Bring me back.
Yeah, and Big Brother as well. I'm sorry. If you, Celebrity Big Brother, when that's on, I'm up for it still.
No, I think it definitely needs to be. It's coming to an end, and I think we all know that. It's turning into a little bit of a different kind of show. And I think something like I'm a business-minded person. I love business, but it's different. It's done differently these days. So yeah, maybe Lewis.
Maybe not quite yet, but I could fire people. You're fired. But yeah, I'd have to have a different line, wouldn't I?
There is one in Singapore, the Apprentice All Stars.
Oh yeah, I heard about something about that.
That is what we need to bring here, because it brings the element of physical. So because I believe if you want to be successful, you need to be physically, you need to also take pride on your physical appearance and on your stamina, on all of that. So it's like physical, business, mentoring, like all of those elements onto being a business owner or being somebody that, works in like any kind of business. And I watched that because I got in touch with one of the girls, and she's Venezuelan and she won it. I think
she won what?
The Apprentice in Singapore.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we got in touch. I remember this is when Clubhouse was like a thing, and we did a Clubhouse together, and yeah, it's completely different. It's completely, and I think something like that should be here.
What about the American one? Have you ever watched the one with Trump?
Oh my God, no, that's even worse than ours.
He ended up being the president. I hope Alan Sugar doesn't become the president.
Oh God, imagine. No.
Actually, who knows? Probably could these days.
Everything could happen.
Anything that could happen. So how's things been going since The Apprentice, business-wise? You're an entrepreneur. I know that you're heavily into the personal development space now, very much aligned, like we mentioned, with helping people, turn their life around, also build these freedom-based businesses. Tell us a little bit more about what you've been up to.
Yeah, so after the show, somebody sold my story to the newspapers. I always say that, but I don't know. Maybe the newspapers just scotched it, or maybe the same Apprentice give it to them. But my whole story went out to I was on the front of the Daily Mail, the Sun.
Good story or bad story?
Well, me sleeping rough and homeless,
Okay.
Apprentice star.
That's a good story then.
Well,
inspiring story.
At the time, because I was going through really, again, depression and anxiety, panic attacks. Oh my God, I was getting panic attacks.
And was this because
weekly.
of your things that happened in your past?
I felt like a failure. I got fired from The Apprentice. I felt like I kept trying and nothing seemed to work. And The Apprentice was like the last punch.
I bet you're doing better now than some of the people that have won The Apprentice though, right?
I mean, a lot of people are doing really well, but yeah, I can't complain.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
I can't complain.
I've seen some ones that haven't done so great.
But yeah, the story went on the papers, and I remember switching off my phone because I just felt like by this time people already had opinions about me. So I was like, oh my God, what's people gonna say? How can somebody like that be on such a show? They should get more people like business-minded. That was my at the end, I didn't see it as a good thing. So
and also reality TV, they can chop it and cut it however way they like. Like one of my friends was Johnny Mitchell on Love Island, and they painted him out to be this really horrible kind of rich snobby guy, and they pulled him up in a Rolls Royce. No, he's not. He pulled him up in a Rolls Royce, and he was just that guy. That was his character, and they just cut him in and out of just all the worst bits and just created this narrative, and it's far from who he is. So yeah, I can see how you can come off a show like that, watch it back, and be like, "Oh my God, is that me?"
To be fair, I was actually favored to win, and in a way, I pretty much wanted to get fired because I remember because we won 6 out of 7 tasks.
Wow.
So I was on the winning rolling team, and a lot of the winning, how can I say, the winning things that made us win was my idea.
Yeah.
But it was always overlooked.
They didn't show that stuff.
I was just underestimated all the time, which is what made me who I am today.
Maybe you didn't fit into the fiery persona that they wanted
No,
you for.
from everybody, from the obviously it's a competition. So your teammates are like, oh no, you shouldn't pitch because of your accent.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm
You
like,
get cancelled
I
for that
speak
now.
better than English than you,
get
and you're from
cancelled for that now, yeah. Can't get away with that anymore.
Exactly. So I think it was I was very underestimated on the show, and I felt like, maybe, and it's funny because Low Sugar said something to me, and it stuck with me, and it's not gonna affect me ever, but somehow it might be a little true, is that you too nice. That's why you don't get respected. You too nice. That's why you're not good for business. And I'm like, maybe I am. Maybe I am too nice, And I just felt like a failure, and I was just going through a really difficult time, and I just felt like, okay, well, I thought The Apprentice was, because I didn't go in The Apprentice thinking, oh, what if I don't win? No, I went in The Apprentice to win, and that didn't happen. So that knocked me off really badly. And the story would go on the papers. I was like, why? I'm pretty sure there's other things in the world happening. Why is my story on the papers? Yeah. It launched my motivational career. I think people saw my story, and then they thought, we want to hear from you, and I started again going to universities, speaking at stages, and just being like, wow, I can make an impact. I can actually help people to be better. And that's when I found my purpose. And that's when I felt like, okay, this is me. I want to do this. It's, in a way, people think like I do it because I want to help them. It's selfish of me because it feels amazing.
I like how you admit that, yeah. Because I said that as well. I say that there's an element, of course, I want to help people, but, I get something out of it as well.
Absolutely. It feels amazing. It fills my soul. It's draining at the same time, but it's what I felt like I was born to do. And I'm grateful The Apprentice gave me that platform, because if I never went on The Apprentice, it would have gone on such a scale to be on the papers and have all this success. Then I went into, for me, I was working in events, and I was like, oh my God, this is the girl from The Apprentice. Then I started working back in events because that was my gig, and I needed to make money. And people were like, oh, you're that girl from The Apprentice. Like, almost like, what are you doing here? Like, So I thought, no.
Why are you not sitting around with Alan,
Yeah, why are you not rich?
On a jet.
I'm like, I need to feed my son. And that's when I started looking into making money online. I was like, okay, the only way I can do this is I make money online. That's it. Went on to do network marketing. That was kind of like the easiest option in. And
a lot of people start with that, don't they? Because it's someone else's product. It's,
easy,
they can snap into a model and just play steps. Yeah.
I mean, it's easy, but it's not. It was, But network marketing changed my life. That's when I was introduced to mindfulness.
Yeah.
And I remember we went to an event in Marbella, and all I wanted to do is go to Marbella to, get pissed and have a party. I didn't care about all this. And this girl used to bang on about it. And in a way, I felt like, oh, that's a cult. They're too happy. This is not possible. Yeah. And she said to me, try it for 1 week. Visualize a parking space, visualize whatever. Just try it. Just try it 1 week, 2 weeks. I was like,
visualize a parking space. Was that your dream? Was it?
Yeah. That was the beginning of everything.
Just want a space to park my car in London.
Yes. And I tell you, let me know why. But she used to go on about it so much. And I was in such a bad place. And I was so cynical. I was like, listen, La La Land, don't pay for my bills, okay? That was me then. And I visualized a parking space.
Go on.
I used to live in Selhurst, the Crystal Palace Stadium, right? And I remember I said, I'm going to take a picture of this space. And I always like this space. It's right outside Sainsbury's. And I never get it. But I'm going to take a picture of it empty. I'm going to put it everywhere. I'm going to put it on my phone. I'm going to put it everywhere. But I'm going to go when there is a game.
Okay.
Because if it's true,
yeah,
then it's going to happen. When it's a game, I remember I'm pulling in and I can see the parking space and it's taken. And I'm like, I'm going to call her in a minute. It's like, I told you it doesn't work. Anyways, I'm going around, and as I'm going around and I see this ambulance, these people, and then they started stop. And then this lady's coming out. Yeah. And then this lady's going into the ambulance, and whoever was with the lady, it's going into the car. This car pulls out, and I'm right there. And there was the parking space. Wow. And I got chills, and I was like, no. okay, maybe this could work.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then I started putting two and two together. I visualized Apprentice, I visualized my husband, I visualized, the parking space. And then slowly, I started to believe a bit more. And then I started using it. And now the universe is like my cash point. Like
Yeah.
I use it and abuse it. And then now I help people make money online. So, I recently launched a course, online digital course that helps businesses, startups, to be visible in the online world, but they can also sell the same course if they want to, or people that don't have a business and they don't want to create a course. Then they can then take that course as their first business venture and they make 100% profits. And into other projects as well, appointment setting, sales closer. Like I want to open up people's minds into the online world and all the things that you can do. If you broke in 2023, it's because you want to.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to make money.
And I just want to step back a little bit to what you mentioned there about checking the time. Yeah. Oh, okay. I've got to wrap things up. I'm going to kick us out in a minute.
Okay.
We could talk for ages though. But yeah, it's really important what you mentioned there about the personal development that comes with starting a new business, because you have to be, don't you? Because you have to break down all these ideologies and limiting beliefs around, how you can make money and who you are and, what's actually available. People think I couldn't possibly work online, or I don't have the confidence for it, or, I'm not that kind of person. Or what do you mean I can make 6 figures? What do you mean I can make 7 figures? What do you mean I can make, I remember even when I was, starting to make a lot of money, a friend of mine said, our next goal is to make $1 million a month. And I actually felt insulted by that, because I felt, do you really think I'm going to believe you saying that? Like, that's stupid. Like, don't take the piss. Like, we can make some money, but $1 million
That's a lot
month,
of money.
like, come on. That's like just being over ambitious now and just being a little bit. But that was my own belief,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I make $1 million a month now, but I know loads of people that do. You know, and it's pretty normal. I mean, I've seen 18-year-olds in Dubai with their Lamborghinis left, right, and centre, and they do make it. I mean, there's a lot of bullshit there as well.
No, 100%.
But it is possible.
It's possible.
And then you have to have that mindset. And when you get into a business, any business opportunity, whether that's your closing or your network marketing or coaching that we do or whatever it is, you're going to have to go on a personal development journey, because you have to break down everything that you've thought before and you have to rebuild as this new successful entrepreneur, and you go on a journey. So you win regardless of whether you succeed in the venture, and hopefully they do, and they pursue it, and they go through those difficult, challenging moments of having to redefine who they are. And some don't, because it is an uncomfortable journey. But the ones that do, they're not only going to be rewarded with obviously the wealth and everything that comes with it, but they're rewarded with an entirely different perspective of how the world works and who they are, and can remove all the chains that have been holding them back their entire life. So yeah, even network marketing, I don't want to devalue network marketing. I've never done it, but I know it's,
For me, it was a learning thing.
Yes.
It was learning. Like, I'm not against network marketing at all, but it is a very tough industry.
Yeah.
And
just for context, that's typically the ones where people will sell things like the shakes and the makeups and
for me, it was skincare and health. Yeah. So it's not something that, I was I appreciated everything that I've learned. But this is the thing. I know a lot of, for example, like my online digital course, and I know a lot of businesses that are struggling. I know they're struggling, right? But they're not prepared to learn new skills. I know people that are struggling. Like, for example, you do coaching, right? And they're not prepared. I remember spending the last penny I had for the month on a coaching program.
That's a cheap coaching program.
Well, no, it was expensive. It was very expensive.
I spent my last 1 penny on a coaching program.
Oh no! I mean, all the money that I had in the bank on a coaching program, and that's the
mindset you
that was
need.
the first step for me to level up. You can learn a lot of things on YouTube. Don't get me wrong. You can learn a lot of things on in the online space, but having someone to mentor you, to show you, to lead you the way, to find someone that is aligned with your beliefs, somebody that you look up and you're like, I want to be where that person is. Like, this is where people don't get it. Like, back in the years, you had to pay 80 grand on a university to be able to achieve something.
And even that, you're not
And
even
even that, you end
guaranteed.
up working in
Yeah.
McDonald's majority
Yeah.
of the time. But now you got mentorship, you got courses, you got, coaching, you got so many ways, but people are not prepared. People are not prepared to invest in that. And I know there is a lot of fake gurus out there, don't get me wrong. So do your research.
Yeah.
Always do your research.
Always buy from us.
Basically, only Lewis and Jemelin. Do your research and make sure that what you getting into, that's what I did. So I remember researching, and it was about 2.5K. And I remember researching and researching and researching. It was like, there was some people saying bad stuff, but majority was good. I was like, boom, yeah, this is it.
That's a good mindset to have, to be able to even, because a lot of people, when they're looking for an excuse to not invest, or they're, fearful and doubtful, they'll find any piece of information and just blow it out of proportion. Be like, oh, I'm not doing it. There's one bad review. Oh, it's a scam. But that's good that you was even able to be able to say, okay, there's a little bit of negativity, because obviously everyone's got their own experience.
It would be not normal. If everything was good, I think it was fake.
True.
So for me, it was like, okay, well, this is pretty good.
I'm going to start going to leave myself some bad reviews later.
Yes,
so he balances
I might
out.
leave you one. But yeah, I think people are not prepared. Like businesses are not prepared to spend on marketing agencies. Businesses are not prepared to spend on online digital courses. People are not prepared to invest in the skill. You gotta level up your skills. I know I've never been to university. I've never done even a college degree. I barely passed my high school. So I make 5 times of what I probably used to make 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And that it's because I invested in my skills through mentorship, through coaching, through all of these things. Events, going to events, self-development events, all of these things. So I think people are and they're like, oh no, I'm broke. And it's funny because I remember when I invested in that mentorship and I spent every penny I have, I don't have anyone giving me money. I don't have a family. Actually, I send money to my mom. I have a son that I have to feed. I have bills to pay. And you in that situation, you're going to do, it's almost like if I told you, Lewis, make £1 million in this year or I'll kill you and your family. You make that £1 million, would you?
Unless I didn't like my family.
Well, yeah.
But I do.
I hope you do. But I'm saying, like, this is what you got to go into business with, that mind frame.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like so scared of spending here and there. It's like, if it's going to level up your skills, eventually it's going to make you more money. So what are you doing? Same actions equals to same results. Mm-hmm. So if you are in a bad situation, if you're struggling financially, if you're struggling mentally, if you're struggling in any ways, however possible, you need to then look into what can help you and invest in that. That investment is going to be returned because, even if you don't take on to being a mentor, you're going to learn those skills and it's going to give you the confidence to do better at your job, to get a promotion, to get a better job, to do your own business. And I believe a lot of people out there don't have this kind of mentality, and this is why they are in the situation that they are. I've been broke so many times, and entrepreneurship is being broke.
Yeah,
a lot of the times.
But people would argue that you're not broke. I mean, I remember hearing something that's like, there's a difference between not having any money and being broke. When you're broke, you've got no way of making the money. You've got no mindset to even go out and fix it, and you're just in trouble. Yeah. Right. There's a difference between that and maybe running out of cash flow and being like, what's next? Yeah. So I don't think you were broke. I think maybe.
No, I was. I was absolutely. This is it. This is what, and this is the problem. People are like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to leave my job when, my business starts to take off. No, mate, you got to leave your job now.
Yeah.
You got to go all in,
yeah.
Because that is the only way that something will happen. When you have any kind of commodity, any kind of something that is, your wages is going to give you, the comfort, because you're too scared of doing that jump. When we are survivors, humans are not born to be successful. We're born to survive. If you look back in like all the years, we are born to survive, and you gotta get out of that mentality. You gotta get out of that comfort mentality. You gotta be inside the den and just be like, it's now or never. Because when you have zero in your account and you invested, let's say, on a mentorship, on a coaching, on a course, or whatever, you are going to do everything in your power because you're down there. And if that doesn't work, you are F.
Yeah.
So you
So you
are
have to, yeah.
you have to.
Yeah, I mean, I started on benefits. So I left prison with a £50 discharge grant and then went through rehab and then got benefits. And then when I started my coaching business, I earned enough money to get off the benefits. And then I was then like, right, I now have nothing. And that was 8 years ago. And I've never had I had no other option. I had to pay the
Yeah.
bills, So otherwise, I guess I could go back on benefits. But after a while, you build a life, and you can't afford to go back on benefits because your bills are too high to pay. I think employment support allowance was £50 a week. I don't know how I was living off £200 a month.
That's crazy. And there's a lot of people out there that are living on that right now. So it's insane.
And I got a housing benefit as well. I think that was 500. So I think I got like 700 a month. And that was what I was
Which is
living on.
nothing. Which is nothing.
You wouldn't be able to do that in London. Luckily, I was down in Portsmouth.
Yeah, that's nothing. But if anyone right now is in that situation, and I've seen it because I know people that are in that situation, and you're offering them solutions, and they're like, oh no, that's too much, or no this, or no that. And they're not prepared to actually invest in the future in themselves and in their knowledge.
Well, we've got this is not. I guess this is a plug. We've got a membership. Did you just do a wrap up?
5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw something through the window.
Shut up now.
We've got a membership, and it's hundreds and hundreds of hours of online training. It's got coaching certifications in there, business certifications, holistic certifications, NLP certifications. It's got social media training. It's got resources. It's got access to our community, our app, our directory. It's like tens of thousands of dollars worth of value, right? But we charge $9.99 in dollars, so it's about £8 a month. And there's
I'm signing up.
I'll send you a link after.
Yeah.
And there's a 14-day money back guarantee with it. And sometimes people message me and they're like, I'm desperate. I really want to change my life. Like I've had enough. I'm broke and I'm this and then I'm like, cool. Well, I've got this perfect option for you. It's a membership's £8, and if you don't like it after 14 days, get your money back. And they're like, oh, I'll have a think about it and take a look at it. And I'm like, you are destined for a really bad life because if you can't take that step, you don't want it bad enough. Like,
no.
£8. I just for those people might think this is a bit harsh. I never speak to them again because I'm just like, I'm giving you an option here, and I can't just say they probably expect me to give them something for free. Go and watch YouTube if you want something for free.
Absolutely.
There's plenty of stuff here. There's podcasts. There's loads of stuff for free. But if you do want to take that next step, you have to make a commitment, and these people need to put something up for it. And if they can't put £8 up, then it shows they're just not ready. They're not ready.
I'm the same. Like, look, I've had people like, I've gotten a call and then I explain the digital course and everything, how amazing it is, and I give them the information, and then they make an informed decision. And then they're like, it's not for me, or sometimes they give me some sort of like certain feedback, and I'm honest. I'm like, sorry, I don't think you're ready, or I don't think this is a good fit for you, because you're just not ready to be successful. You're just not ready for it. Like, you have to be hungry. And there's so many people that buy courses, they don't even take the courses. They don't even finish the courses. And there's a lot of people that they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and blah, and then they get home and watch Netflix.
Yeah, 2 weeks later they're like, oh shit, that course. I left it in my email. I've never even opened it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. It's up to you.
But there are people that when they are ready, or not necessarily ready, but when they're prepared to make that decision, they might not be ready mentally. They might not be in the best place they could be. Maybe they're actually, it's sometimes the worst place.
Yeah.
But they're ready to make a commitment. They're ready to put their energy into something and show up. I mean, for me, it was in college. I mean, I went back to college, not university, but actual college in the UK, which is like the one after school, as a mature student. And I would just go every single day, whether it was raining or whether it was snowing, and I would go on my push bike, and it was like a 45-minute drive. And I remember I'm just going to give this everything.
You was ready,
And absolutely everything. And I tried my absolute hardest, and I got great results. And that's kind of the first thing that fed me. And, it wasn't investing into a course. It was actually college at that time. I got into uni after that, and then after 3 months left, because I thought, what the hell is this? I'm learning way more online.
Yeah.
And then by the time my cohort of people in my university degree had finished, I was already a multimillionaire.
There you go.
They hadn't even started their work experience yet. So
there you go.
It was definitely the right route. But right, we've got to wrap this up now. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. I don't usually do plugs on the podcast just because but there's actually quite a few things going on with me and with you, and I'd like to talk about them. So the first thing is, next week, and depending on when this goes live, I think we're going to put this live this week. So next week, we have got the Coaching Masters, a completely free 3-day training that's going to show people everything about how to become a life coach. So the coaching industry, what's required, what qualifications are needed, even an insight into some of the tools and techniques that are used and all the income streams that you can use as a coach. So this is completely free. I've forgotten the link, but if you go to thecoachingmasters.com, which is thecoachingmasters.com, it will be on the homepage somewhere. So check that out. It's live. We don't do live trainings for free often, and it's 3 days, and it's with me and my business partner Liam, James Collins. So that's going to be good. Also, I haven't announced this yet, but I just want to put this in as a caveat. Some of you will know that I'm doing a secret event in November, not your one, a different one. So there's 2 events in November, and this is why I need to explain it so you don't get confused. Yeah, November's going to be a big month for London anyway. So I'm doing a secret event, and I'm going to be announcing those details shortly. So especially for the community. So if you're thinking about that one that you know is kind of happening, that's something different. So hold on to your hats. Don't think that's what I'm about to talk about. That one is different, and that's going to be for the Coaching Masters community and the public, and something very exciting happening, which I have not been able to reveal, but it's huge, and it's gonna put me on the map worldwide. Anyway, that's cool. So that's that event. But there's another event happening, and I want you to talk about it because
I'm so excited
to tell us.
Yes, so Awaken the Power in You. It's an event that we're going to be doing. It's like a day rave / self-development. I wanted to make it fun. Obviously, you're going to be our headliner, which I'm very grateful for. It's going to be the book launch for Turn Your Mess into Your Message. So it's a collective of coaches turning the mess into the message. And we're going to have Apprentice panel talking about the Apprentice. Cool. And these are people that haven't won the Apprentice but have become successful. So again, turning your adversity into an asset. And it's 12th of November. You can go onto my Instagram, Jemelin Artigas. And
you might want to, do you want to?
Jemelin Artigas. Artigas. Or just put Latina Apprentice.
Or if you go to this podcast, Jem will be tagged in as well.
Absolutely.
That's another way.
Absolutely.
So this might be called Adversities into Assets now, though, on Instagram, because I might have changed that. So go to Adversities to Assets. You're going to see this podcast. You're watching this podcast. You're listening to this podcast. Click her Instagram, and then you can come to that event. But you did tell me that tickets are nearly sold out, right? So they're going to have to be quick.
Tickets are nearly sold out. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be in a club, which I love that. So it's a self-development like no other. It's going to be fun, live music, live bands, magicians, like everything. It's just going to be fun day, full of energy, way to end the year strong. If you feel like this year hasn't been your year, or even if it has, and you want to just, get that fire up for 2024, because it's nearly done this year, crazy. Then we'll definitely look forward. And again, if you're looking to make money online, I've got a few options, not just online courses. You can be appointment setters. We also have a training program for appointment setters and closers. They make 5-6 figures a month. You don't have to post on Instagram. You just work with somebody like yourself, a coach, and you basically set appointments for them. And you end up getting some commissions off the deal. So this is for people that don't like to be in front of the camera, I guess. And they just want to be, but they're sales driven and they want to make money. So it's all very exciting. I'm here to help people, hopefully inspire them and make them money. That's
nice.
That's the whole point.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done on all your success.
Thanks.
And I'm sure my wife is going to be interested to listen to this podcast and hear all about Venezuela. She loves talking about it.
Yes.
And I will see you at the event in November. But guys, just remember, the event in November, there's 2. So just don't get confused.
One is secret.
There is actually a similar time date as well. Yours on the 12th?
12th.
I think mine's roughly going to be around the 17th. So they're like, it's going to be a busy week. So just remember that. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in, guys. It's been another episode of Adversities to Assets. And drop us a comment below, share it with a friend. And thank you for joining us today. See you later.